from Brooklyn Football with the Fellas. It's all about Big Blue. Here with a brief NFC East update for the Week 5 that's upcoming. As you know, we Giants are playing the Seattle Seahawks, and we've already talked about that. Mazo and I had a nice little talk about what we expect there. But I wanted to mention the rest of the NFC East and how they're doing, what this weekend shapes up for them. First and foremost, the Eagles are off. This is their bye week, so they don't play at all. So enough about them. Washington plays at 1 o'clock. They're hosting the Cleveland Browns this week. Washington is in first place in division. Who had that on their bingo card? But they're 3-1 and atop our division. Cleveland is 1-3, and I'm guessing a lot of people didn't expect that either. But it is what it is. So Washington plays Cleveland. Nick Chubb is eligible to come back. He was on IR. His 21-day window starts this week, so there's a possibility that he may play this week, although I doubt it. He probably needs at least a week to get back in shape, back in football shape. But they still have a lot of other injuries. From what I gathered this week, Myles Garrett, Jack Conklin, Jedrick Wills, Ethan Pochik, and Jordan Hicks have not practiced yet this week. So that's a lot of people, especially on the line, that are not practicing yet and may or may not play for Cleveland this week. So that does not bode well as they go up against this buzzsaw that is the Jaden Daniels-led Washington Commanders. And Washington just seems to be, killing it. When we lost to them, it was their first win of the year in week 2, and we were disappointed we lost to them, but they haven't lost since. So maybe that loss to them, 21-18, wasn't such a reflection on how bad we are, but rather on how good they were just starting to become. As far as their injury updates, Austin Eckler and Brian Robinson, B-Rob, did not practice this week so far. So both of their starting, 1A and 1B running backs may or may not play. Rookie Johnny Newton still hasn't played, defensive lineman, who I think is going to be very good, but he still hasn't played and hasn't practiced this week either. So they have their share of injuries as well. But obviously playing at home with a 3-1 record against Cleveland, who doesn't look very good at all, to be honest, so far, you would think Washington would win that game, is what it is. Then that's the 1 o'clock game. The Sunday night game, the 8 o'clock game, is Dallas and the Steelers. So in Pittsburgh. So Dallas gets to play the Steelers. When I was growing up as a little kid and the Giants never used to make playoffs, the Steelers were my second favorite team. I called them my playoff team because they would beat Dallas in the Super Bowls. And I loved when Dallas would lose in Super Bowls. So this is a team that I've liked for many, many, many years and still have a warm spot in my heart for them. And I really hope they beat Dallas. Anytime Dallas loses is a good thing. So right now, Dallas is 2-2. Pittsburgh is 3-1. Pittsburgh, since this came off their first loss, they were 3-0 up until this week. They have a couple of injuries. Cordarrelle Patterson and Nate Herbig are still questionable. Russell Wilson, of course, is still questionable, but I'm not sure he would be playing even if he was healthy because Justin Fields has them at 3-1. But Dallas has a significant injury list as well. DeMarcus Lawrence is on IR, so he's definitely out. Micah Parsons hasn't practiced this week. He's doubtful. So their two best edge rushers probably won't be playing. One definitely won't. The other one probably won't be playing. Brandon Cooks, wide receiver, is out. He's not playing at all this week. And cornerback Kalen Carson is still questionable for this week. He hasn't practiced yet. So they have their share of issues as well. I'm not a big believer in Dallas this year. I mean, I know Dak puts up big numbers. They're rated pretty highly in the league in terms of, I think they're 4th in the league in passing yardage. So they move the ball. CeeDee Lamb is obviously outstanding, but I just don't think this is a particularly good Dallas Cowboys team this year. And given that Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence are out, I definitely don't think this is the week they want to run into a 3-1 Pittsburgh team at home. So I think Pittsburgh defends home turf and beats Dallas. I do think Washington probably beats Cleveland. So that's my NFC East report. Obviously, we already talked about the Giants in Seattle. And like I said, Philly's off this week. So last week, I started something called the trivia questions. And so what I'd like to do is to tell you the answer to last week's trivia question and show you this week's trivia question. So let me start by reminding you that last week's trivia question was a pretty challenging one that I haven't seen anybody put in the comments what their prediction for the answer was or their guess for the answer was. So I'll tell you that there are two former Giants who made the Pro Bowl at defensive back, but also were punters and punt returners. Can you name them? And I will tell you that it is Tom Landry and Carl Spider Lockhart. Tom Landry and Spider Lockhart both were defensive backs that made the Pro Bowl as Giants, and they also punted for the Giants and returned punts for the Giants. So I don't know if anyone else has ever done that. I haven't, checked all 32 teams, but I know that's a very rare combination of talents to even play defensive back, much less be a Pro Bowler at defensive back and be a punter and a punt returner. So that was the answer to that particular question. If you had that on your bingo card, then you win. Please let me know in the comments if you had the answer to that. And now I'm going to show you this week's question, which is, which player holds the record for most receiving yards by a New York Giant tight end, and how many yards is that record? So the trivia question number 2 for this week is, again, which player holds the record for most receiving yards by a New York Giant tight end, and how many yards did he have? So there you go. There you have it. And next week on the NFC East report, I will tell you the answer to that question. All right, guys, again, Clay from Brooklyn, Football with the Fellas. It's all about Big Blue. Please like and subscribe and all that good stuff, and tell your friends about us. Look forward to seeing you soon. Peace.